Hello, friends and family. Welcome to You Plug, the plug that keeps you plugged in.
There we go.
My name is Tabang, and I'm so
Say-
happy to be here.
Yes.
Another thing about me, besides my name, is that I'm saved,
Saved,
sanctified, and set
Set
apart.
apart. Oh, there
And
we
I'm pretty cool.
Set apart for God, not for you.
No.
go. For you too, you never know. Yeah, man, that sounds refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that welcoming. You know, it will probably help our brothers also to.
Too many, low notes, bass
Yeah,
notes,
yeah.
going around.
Yeah, especially Mac.
Hello, friends and family. Welcome to your plug.
Yes, friends and family, as Tapang has said, welcome to Your Plug. Thank you for choosing this channel as your channel of choice. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for engaging our content weekly. Nag opa wagaramalagana. Gumnar nom sudo gatrafasa. Wa shadu gatagas. Gingidan gamasul gamlo natuturusa. Gi goblo tabatur. Maru mutulu kamari tsane. Buda komo. Otwara mutu. And I want to pass it over to Mac.
Yes, as Opa has said,
I am Mac. I'm the head and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath.
There we
I'm
go.
the child of the Most High God. Blessed and highly favored, a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a nation belonging to God, to declare the praises of Him who has called me out of soprano into bass. Always great being with you, friends and family. Thank you for being with us. We're excited to be with you. Please, if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button. Turn on your post notifications so each and every time that we post, you are notified of content that we put out. Beke lebe.
Yeah. No waste of time. Maybe before we go in, this is our happy space. We always get new energy, and we're always excited to give you content week in and week out. And just to remind you that here at UPlug, we believe that relationships are beautiful, are godly, and they are God's gift for humanity. And we exist to really challenge the existing narratives and negotiate alternatives, because there's just not one way of thinking about things. There is one way and there's another way, and we're here for that. And today we're on an interesting one, Lobola or Ilobolo. It's a yeah. For those who are not familiar with the concept, that term means a bride price. So it's a practice that is quite common in the southern part of Africa. You know, it's not just the South African thing. Many other African countries they do that, where the groom's family will go into the wife to be's family or the bride to be's family and pay a bride price for to have the daughter, or to have the bride's hand in marriage. I mean, initially it was just cows, just in the past it would be cows, but later on with modernization and really being part of the global community, where someone comes from deep in the villages and someone comes in the urban, and the urban space would not necessarily accommodate the issue of cows. You can't bring cows because people don't have space. There's no grazing land. They call the city a concrete jungle. It's really concrete. There's no so basically it has evolved as time goes into what it is today, where people give money, where we negotiate money. Some parts they still do cows, but for the most part, especially in the cities, and I mean some parts of the outskirts, they negotiate money. And we want to talk about that as and look at that and its relationship to the body of Christ, to the general public, and just to look at the practice as a whole. These days things are quite different, with this economic climate that we find ourselves in, things have become a bit more expensive. But I don't know. I know how I feel about the whole thing, but I'm interested in knowing what others think about the practice of lobola. Is it something that we should still continue observing, or should we have different ways of because the lobola concept as well was not just a man marrying a woman, was one family marrying another family. It was just beyond the two people, and the bringing in of those cows, was to really bring these two families to together to become one family. And that whole practice also says whatever that is happening within this new family, if it's a problem, it's the problem of these two family. If it's a celebration, it's a celebration of these two families. So you don't just exist in isolation. So it has developed as time goes. I don't know. I don't know if you have what do you think about the practice itself, Meg? Do you think it's something we should continue to observe? Is it practical? Just in general, before answering any specific question.
Hey, that's a deep question that you're asking. I think it should continue. I think something that has that has been around for so long, and
for years.
Also deeply rooted in how do you say it? It has meaning to it. It's not just something that's done just abruptly, at least in the way that I've seen, and in the way that I've spoken to people, that it has meaning in how it is, in what it's meant to achieve. So with that, I think we can still maintain that
the practice.
We can still maintain what it's intended to achieve.
Okay.
Maybe the practice is something that we can,
What is it intended to achieve?
Bringing families together.
Yeah.
So, maybe then, to get ahead of myself, is that does it really require this much to bring the families together, especially if in the economic climate that we find ourselves in, where unemployment is a problem in our country, and it almost then gives the illusion that if you don't have, then it means that you cannot marry. So which I don't think is the case.
In the past things were quite doable, because in a sense that you could easily inherit your family's cows or something, or your parents would give you a cow to raise it and multiply it, So it was almost doable to kind of just take from what you have and give to the family on the other side. But now I think it has become quite tricky, and what we are trying to do, we are not trying to be woke, we are not trying to be those people who says or we are not even trying to be relevant and say these are the issues that we just want to talk about because we are trying to be relevant. We think it's a necessary conversation to be had, especially for me, primarily because I'm a Christian, but also within the Christian space I have a responsibility. I'm assigned by God to be a pastor. I interact with people, but also with our reality, and one of those realities, our financial reality. For example, you complete school at what age? 18?
Yeah.
Well, maybe 19, somewhere there, and then you go to study. For those who can, you go to study, maybe a 4 years career or 7 years, whatever you go for. After that, you do your...
go to study on NSFAS.
On NSFAS, and that's a loan.
Yeah,
Or it's either NSFAS, or if NSFAS does not approve you get a study loan.
It's not a loan anymore.
Yeah.
It used to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now it's just it acts as a bursary.
Okay, yeah. No, thank you. We see who's recent here and who have been in school for a long time. Yeah, basically that's that. And I mean that would be a recent thing, but people who probably went to school when I was going to, they probably are dealing with, unless if it's cancelled completely. But basically, if you don't qualify for that bursary, then you get a loan. Mm-hmm. You study for 4-5 years. When you're done with that 5 years, what do you do? You
go to work.
Internship. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you struggle. You take a year or two without finding any internship. Sometimes you get it, and then you from being an intern, you become a junior in the workspace, and then you work your way up. So really, mid-30s, it's when you can really say, I am fine. You have balanced your equations.
Are you now talking about men?
It generally, that would be men.
We're looking at the ones who are taking out Lobola.
The Lobola, but I would assume that might be the same, but not necessarily, because women are ladies are the ones who are being Lobolad. It wouldn't matter whether you are being Lobolad halfway in your studies or when you are a junior or whatever, but generally those who pay Lobola, and you really become established in that age. Mm-hmm. So that's when your financial reality will make sense. Then. So and for me that's a challenge. Then what are we saying? Are we saying that's, given our economic climate and our economic climate, our reality, are we saying then people should wait until they are at that space? I don't know.
Yeah, they must just seek the Lord
until that time.
Leave the boys alone.
Leave the boys and the girls alone, and
seek God. And let the grace of money find you when you've done enough seeking.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And I mean, obviously, you are not trying to say, the whole goal of life is to get married.
Yeah.
But we are saying, for those who desires to be married and find themselves within the Christian space, and they have to wait on the Lord, that will be then that you will have some financial breakthroughs. You kind of have a rhythm of life in terms of balancing responsibilities, financial security, and stuff. Then other people it's earlier, other people it's even later. Like when they enter their 40s, and you have this particular person that you love and you have been loving for a while. But
because the heart doesn't wait until you
no, the heart does not wait for the heart does not wait for qualification and graduation. When you find someone, you build relationships, you eventually find someone you love, and you see potential and the possibility of building a future together. But your financial reality says wait until 10 years from now. Or whatever the case may be. And I think there's a necessary conversation, because just in my own general assessment, and I'm not saying this is an excuse or this should be, but you find a lot of cohabitation existing in our day and age, and social media has made it to be something so beautiful and acceptable. People wake up together, they go to work together, they that has become the norm. And when you engage some of them, when are you going to get married? We are not in a financial position to do that, because as years progresses, the prices increase, does not decrease. So that's why I thought maybe it's a necessary conversation, because our economic climate it's really not accommodating to that. I don't know, what do you think are some of the challenges that comes with having to pay lobola or wait until you are financially stable to get married or to marry someone that you that you love, and we don't even want to blind ourselves from the reality of so many children out of wedlock and all of those things that comes as a result of partly as a result of not affording marriage.
Mac will respond just now because he has experience. But I just wanted to, for me, it's crazy how, for me to get married, there needs to be money involved to help bring together two families. Maybe one needs to do research on the whole concept of Lobola, but it's crazy how, if there's no money, two families can't come together.
Yeah. And I think that's a necessary conversation. Yeah.
I think one of, just to that, one of the concerns that I've heard is that you need to prove that you're able to take care of, that you have the financial, that's how they
what
put
if
it
laying
in Zulu,
keeper or konamanje the last one basically and you think to yourself I'm you because I'm the family, and I think you are able to take care of my family member, but then we need to take our fail, and then
and that's where the conversation is going.
Coming.
That's where we're going with it. That's amandla akho, basically, and what then, because there is life after after marriage, is it?
But that point gives me a little bit of understanding as to why it's necessary to show such.
To be able to prove.
Yeah.
But also, I think for the alongside that, I see a lot of inconsistencies within our society and what we claim to be standing for. We claim a 50-50 society and 50-50 men and women in certain stuff that benefits us, but in stuff like this where we have to still be consistent about the same statement, we're like, no, this is culture. Culture says we have to do things this way, but when we come to patriarchy and dismantling it in all its forms within our society, we are very vocal about human rights, about having women share the same we are so vocal about and saying that females have the same strength as men, they can do the same thing, they can, we are vocal about some aspects of this 50-50, but when it comes to issues that matters the most, we're like, no, this is traditional, we cannot change anything, for me, I find that there's some inconsistencies in that space.
I'm interested to know what consistency would look like. To your point that there seems to be inconsistency, what would consistency look like?
Consistency generally will look like 50-50
in everything.
So meaning that we both contribute towards.
I get we're bringing these two families together, right?
So how about we come together?
Yeah,
and bring the money together.
Let's do this together. For me, I am for lightening the load of this new family, without putting a lot of burdens and expectations. Who knows how life will turn out to be like tomorrow? And I mean, at the end of the day, we make choices. We choose who we want to be in a relationship, who we want to get married to. If we're going to struggle, then it's our choice. Those are the stuff that we need to. That's the reality of life. We benefit or we suffer the consequences of the choices that we have made. That's one thing. We don't know how life will become like. But for me, I want to advocate for this new family, not for male, for female, but for this new family how nice would it be if they enter into this union debt free, not owing anyone, not having to pay any loan, not having to be under what doesn't kill you make you strong period, when we are the one who have inflicted that, and we could have prevented that in some ways. So I don't know. For me, that's my take. That much as this is a cultural practice that is appreciated and that is celebrated, I think for me, let's just look at it and appreciate the benefits. But if we can see some harms that comes with it, then let's try to avoid those. I don't know.
Avoid being reasonable.
Huh?
Avoid it completely, or just when you come into that season of your life, be reasonable.
Yes, let's be. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, when I'm saying if there is any harm, like I'm saying, if paying that exorbitant amount of money harms this couple, and that's something that we can avoid as families, then let's avoid.
Let's look at other alternatives.
Yes, let's look at other alternatives that will.
Because this is not like
help
something
this.
that's set in. It's not like the Bible.
Yeah.
Like Are you saying that I don't have to do it because there's nowhere there's no transcript, there's no like legal thing that forces me to go about this a specific way?
No, I'm not saying we must do away with it.
I mean, if you wanted to, could you?
I mean, in my space, I can. I'm within the society. No, I have a daughter. One day she will be married. I will have to have these conversations with the whoever my future son-in-law's family. I will have those conversations with them. It starts with me. I can control it within that space, and I'm hoping that all of us can embrace the fact that it starts with us. That having those kind of hard conversations, but also always act at the best interest of this this couple.
What we're intending to start.
Yeah.
I'm interested in. I was recently exposed to this concept of, I think you basically touched on it, of ubuhle bendoda, inkomo.
Yeah.
Inkomo zazo.
Yeah,
or
inkomo zayo.
zayo.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's the one.
Yeah, so it basically it has been taken as a man's beauty is in his possessions or what he has.
Yeah.
But I was recently taught that what it meant is that you touched on it earlier, that the father would give the son a cow to take care of, and how they took care of it would show in how many cows they ended up with in. So if he was careless with this one that he was given, then he wouldn't be having any cows. So as a family, when you see this young man and you see the cows, you are seeing how he has been responsible with what he has been given. So it was it was easy to see with a cow. It was easy to see their responsibility, and easy to see how they have nurtured it and taken care of it and eventually multiplied. So that's what made that indoda ubuhle bayo inkomo zayo. Sorry, I'm butchering this Zulu now.
Yeah, no.
But when we take it to this side now, as you talked about now, that things are modern, we're no longer dealing with cows and that I think the way we don't have cows to show how we've been responsible, but perhaps there are some of us that our parents have invested, and that's why you'll hear them bring up things like education, that we took to school, we did this for him and did that for them. But the reality is that the system, it does not necessarily reciprocate in a sense that how much you put into your studies, you'll have income or to back you up to show, because like things like the challenge of unemployment and stuff. So I think that's where we get lost, in that if you don't have anything, it seems like you haven't been doing anything because you don't have anything to show what you have done thus far. I mean, I know people who have worked hard. I know people with degrees, with certificates, and you can't bring those and say, this is what I have, therefore I can take care of your daughter. It seems like it's not enough. And that's why even people today will say that they don't get married to potential. They want to see tangible.
Yeah, they want to see tangible
things.
stuff.
So my interest is how do we
balance?
Strike that balance. And I don't know, am I making sense?
Yeah, no. You're making a lot of sense. Yeah, you're making a lot of sense. I mean, it's a tricky conversation, especially to the day and age that we are living in. I mean, you watch things like Date My Family, for example. You know, one of the questions that you will be asked: do you have a car? Do you have a house?
A job.
You know, do you know to qualify for a house you have to have a decent job? You know. Yeah. And, you know, to be in a space where you can afford, and by affording, I mean to be able to pay an installment of a car and renting an apartment, you have to be in a little bit better position, financial position, you know, to be able to do that, to be able to qualify for, to be approved by the bank for you to have a car, or for you to have a house, to rent an apartment, or to purchase one. And I think also the other thing alongside that, it's how this has become a skill. You know, when you have people to go and negotiate for you for Lobola, you know, you take specific people. You know, you know that someone who's going to resist the price. Someone who's going to speak a lot of logic, someone who's going to, you know, you have those in place. So it becomes a matter of how you negotiate your way into this. And you know, some marriages did not happen because the families did not agree on whatever. But these two people love each other, and they want to be with each other. Obviously, we are not trying to advocate for people living in isolation away from their families. We are saying whatever we are acting, and I think that's a conversation that we want to bring to the broader community, to the church and the broader community, to say whatever as far as this Lobola is concerned, whatever we are deciding, let it be for the benefit of this couple. And not for ourselves. I mean, and for those who have observed and who have been married for a while, I mean, you know that, you know, you still have responsibilities to your in-laws even after you have paid Lobola. You know,